Steve Berry, former Top Gear presenter, a man who knows a thing or two about the car business. I'm going to guess, Steve, that you quite like this Jaguar makeover because you've gone a bit funny over the years.
Well, it's not a question of whether I like it, Mike, because like you, I'm not going to buy one. I'm not in the market for one of these cars.
No.
But it's disappointed me to hear so-called educated and learned commentators here in the UK come out with this Little Englander nonsense as usual, thinking that because they, as a middle-aged, middle-class, oh, there's a topical reference, commentator, don't like it, the rest of the world's not going to like it. I like it. I think it's bold.
So he told you would.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because I think it might sell. Whereas the people going on about, oh, what about the tradition? What about the tradition? What about the E-Type? You put a picture of the E-Type up there. I've driven the last E-Type ever made flat out at 150 miles an hour. It was a glorious experience.
Yeah.
That car was made the year I was born, 1964. You can't trade on that forever, Mike. You've got to go out in the world and compete with Lucid and Tesla, the new American makers. Please don't ask me who Lucid are. They build one of the world's most desirable, expensive, fastest electric cars. They've got to compete with Porsche Taycan. The Porsche Taycan, which that car is obviously aiming at, if you look at Porsche Taycan, it's very similar. The Porsche Taycan does 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. The only car that's ever done
Not in London, it doesn't.
Yeah, but the thing is, mate, you're not selling a car when you're selling something like this. You're selling a dream.
Right. Well, I was told, Steve, that...
The Louis bag costs $4,500. All it does is carry things like a 30p bag for life from Sainsbury's, but people still buy them. Jaguar is selling a dream, and there's probably a billionaire in China right now watching this thinking, I'm going to have 2 of them. I'm going to have a pink one and a blue.
Yeah, but you know what else they're doing in China is they're copying it and they're going to sell it for about half the money. Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, I was at Carfest this year with Chris Evans, right? And I saw for the first time a whole load of Chinese cars, which I'd never seen before. And Chris knows who they all are and who makes them and everything else. And they've got a basic copy of a Land Rover Defender, which sells for about half the money that a Land Rover Defender sells for, and doesn't look that different. And they've got a sort of a carbon copy of almost every expensive car that you can think of, whether it be a Roller or a Bentley or a Jag, you know. And if you're looking at selling to China, that's one thing. But Jaguar will never sell in China in the way that they want to in terms of numbers. They occupy apparently now something like 0.97 of the market, so less than 1% of the market. You know, and the only thing they've really got going for them is the Jaguar logo and the tradition. And if you're going to tell me that what they need to do is to completely revamp their image, get rid of the Jaguar logo, known as the Growler, and put a sort of 2 J's around it instead, and change the font of the word Jaguar, it's absolute BS. It's not going to do them any good.
Right, I went to the first Salon Privé car show. Have you had a Salon Privé? You won't see Chris Evans there. That's a proper car show. Exclusive, my friend.
I don't go to car shows as a general rule. I just...
No, I'm making a point here, mate. I'm trying to make a point, a journalistic point. Have a listen. I went to the first Salon Privé at the Hurlingham Club, the Hurlingham Polo and Rackets Club in London, where the beautiful people go, mate.
Yeah, that's
and as
why I don't go.
went in through the entrance on my motorcycle, I saw, this is a number of years ago, I saw Alain de Cadenet and Yasmin Le Bon sat in a Jaguar XKSS.
Yeah.
Now, that's a car back in the day that was owned by the likes of Steve McQueen and was beyond the reach of 99.9% of the population. To even see one in the flesh was astounding.
Right.
Jaguar are going back to that market. The super
But it's
rich.
not a market. But the super rich market, they won't make any money from because you can't sell enough cars. They're only selling it.
Hold on a minute. What they should try and do is compete on volume with the Chinese. What a great idea that is. Look at Volkswagen collapsing. Look at the German car industry, the mass market in Europe collapsing because, my friend, in the same way that all those Japanese cars arrived, I remember seeing a Datsun in the street for the first time in about 1974 and thinking, that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, This is the Chinese car.
Guy in my street in those years had a 240Z for the first time I saw that car. And I thought that's the greatest looking car of all time. But listen, I get all of that, but here's the thing. Look at what else Jaguar Land Rover make, right? They make a Range Rover. A Range Rover is a car which is timeless, right? If Range Rover did what Jaguar are doing now and turned their car into some pink abomination, you would probably be having a massive go at them, because at the end of the day, they've got a car that sells, right? Jaguar have already kiboshed their own company by going electric in the first place and turning their cars into what looked like one of those, you know, Korean type cars. You know, the last decent car they made was the sports car, you know, the X-Type, which now they've discontinued, and people wanted to buy that because it was a cool looking sports car. These cars they're making now, nobody wants, so they're not going to corner a market. They're not going to sell them to rich people because they're not that cool.
No. You mixed up the X-Type with the F-Type, by the way, Mike. The F-Type was the sports car. The X-Type was a Mondeo in a party frock, and that was the problem. Jaguar, like every other car maker, once upon a time, a Prince Henry Vauxhall was the fastest and most expensive car in the world. But that was just after the Great War. And as the decades went by, they came down and down and down and down until they devalued the Vauxhall name so much it didn't mean anything. Jaguar did that. Once upon a time, they made the 420.
That's what I'm saying. So they've already damaged. They've already damaged their brand. That's what I'm saying. So they've already
damaged the brand by making cheap cars and putting the Jaguar badge on it.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So they're now making a car that's going to be. They're saying £100,000 in the press today, Mike. It's more like £200,000. The entry model will be about 120, but you'll be able to buy one of those Jaguars. You'll be able to spend 200 grand on one of them, by the way.
Yeah, but
it's not going to be me.
But you said you don't want to buy one. I don't want to buy one. So that's 0 for 2 already. And, you know, there's nobody else in the room.
It's not for us, mate. It's like you had something on about Balenciaga.
Well, why are they? All right. Well, if it's not for us, why?
Jeans for 1,500 quid.
Hang on. If it's not for us, Steve, why are they mass marketing it then?
They're not mass marketing it, mate. The unveilings at the Miami Art Fair. Have you ever been to the Miami Art Fair, Mike?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to guess no, and neither have I, because we're not the beautiful people. Look at us, right? That's where the beautiful people are.
Well, why are they wasting? All right. Well, let me ask you another question. Why are they wasting all this money on the viral advertising then?
They're not, Mike.
Yes, they are.
They've had more publicity. They've had more publicity out of this advert.
Yeah, but but you've just said. But hang on, Steve. You've just said it's not for ordinary people. So there's no point in getting publicity for ordinary people who aren't going to buy the bleeding car, is it?
If you publicise something now and you make it cool, I've had this out with the motorcycle industry.
It's crap. It's not cool.
Something, I can't think of a car unveiling or a car event that's had as much publicity in the last 10 years. And you're saying...
Yeah, but everybody hates it.
They've messed up.
They have messed up because everybody hates it. Apart from you and a couple of other idiots.
Whatever, mate. You don't get it, dear. And you never will. Look at you. It's not for you. Do you not get that?
I do get it.
Everything in this world is for Mike Graham.
I do get it. I do get it, Steve. But you've just said it's not for you either. And it's for about a tiny couple of people that live in China. Well, great.
Let me tell you something. When your researcher called me yesterday, I was driving a car designed by the same guy, Jerry McGovern, who's the creative design director of Jaguar. That car was 34 years old. It's a 34-year-old MG built here in Britain.
Yeah.
An MG, a proper one, not an MG now, a Chinese car with the MG hexagon on it.
My mother had an MG.
Yes. But Jerry McGovern is in touch enough to realise that you can't sell that heritage retro nonsense forever. You've got to move forward or you will be wiped out by the competition.
And that's a perfectly reasonable point to make. However, not every modernisation is the right one, is it? Let's face it, somebody once came up with the Betamax video idea and that crashed and burned because nobody wanted it because it didn't work very well because there were other alternatives.
Betamax was a better format than VHS.
And where is it now?
The reason that VHS
and where is it now?
One patent was held by a Japanese company, and the other patent was held by.
So you're saying that your expertise has shown you that you support this new Jaguar ad and the new car, but you also supported Betamax. Well, I've got some bad news for Jaguar in that case, because your choices are obviously wrong.
No, what I'm trying to do is explain to you, having interviewed one of the executives from Philips who worked on the VHS project, if you listen for a second.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact is, it didn't work.
Does matter. You're trying to make a point at my expense, and I'm giving you some actual information, so you're trying to talk over the top of me.
No, it doesn't. I'll talk over the top of you if I like. I'll shut you down if you like as well. You know, it's my show. I'll do what I want. You don't get to come on here and start talking about Betamax. It's too long ago. The point is...
You started that, mate. But as usual, because I've got some actual evidence and facts, you're trying to shut me down.
I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm just trying to keep you on the subject.
I don't know where you're going with this.
No, that's the beauty of the show. That's the beauty of the show, Steve. You never know where I'm going, and that's the point.
No, you expect me to come on here and be Mr. Gammon like you, and because I don't do it, you don't like it.
I told you.
Give you some actual journalism.
I told you when I introduced you, I said you probably like this car, and so it proves to be the case. So I don't expect you to be Mr. Gammon.
I didn't say I like the car. You don't listen.
You did.
That's your problem.
You said you liked the car. You said you liked it. So you do not like it then?
I like the direction that Jaguar are trying to go in, because if they don't do something, Mike, they're going to go.
All right. Well, I'll try one more time. Do you like the car or not?
That's a concept. It's not the car that'll actually be sold to the public. It's an idea.
Do you like it?
Yeah, because it's the same colour.
You do like it. So. All right, tremendous. Let's go. Steve, good to talk to you, Steve. I'm sorry, I haven't got all day.